Take your position. Take your position. Take your position. Take your position. Take your positions. Take your positions.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. As you know, today is RUOK Day, so just a reminder before we have our presentation, if you find any of the content overwhelming, feel free to speak to a friend or someone from Wellbeing. So I'd just like to welcome Elke Aulsebrook, our guest speaker for today. Thanks.
Hi everyone, as Finn said, my name's Elke, I'm 19 years old, I'm from Warrnambool and I'm obviously here to talk about Are You OK Day. And as Finn also said, there are some specific things that might be mentioned that could be a bit overwhelming or pretty heavy. So if that gets triggering or anything, you're welcome to leave and there'll be no judgment. So the first thing I wanted to say, if you're someone who zones out or probably isn't going to listen, if you're going to take one thing away from this, it's that every day is Are You OK Day. So today, is the official awareness day, but it's not just a novelty. So the premise of Are You OK Day is obviously to look out for the people around us, remove stigma around talking about mental health and to start the conversation, and that can't just be one day of the year. Okay, so just quickly with the person next to you, I'll give you 30 seconds, and when I say go, I just want you to discuss and try and come up with a definition for the word stigma. All right, go. Okay, how'd we go? Has anyone got a definition for me? Or for us? Yep. Yep, spot on. So the definition, the official definition is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. All right, so I'm going to do a bit of a jump to a video now.
Now here's the thing. Every morning, Kirsty and her mother drive past Cole Brodie's place. And every day, Kirsty waves to Cole. And every day, without fail, Cole waves back. So why didn't he wave back today? 20 years of amassing an amazing collection of rare albums, and today, Andy Chambers just gives them all away? Margaret Poulos never goes anywhere without her beloved dog, Layla. Yet, for some reason, she did on Tuesday. Every lunchtime at 1 p.m, Jackie meets her friend Christina Greenwood for a jog. And Christina never, ever runs late. Jamie Burney has never missed one footy training session in 3 years. Isn't it strange he didn't lob up on Wednesday? Every Sunday, Edwin Chang religiously cleans his car. He couldn't be bothered cleaning it this particular Sunday. Really? There's no way that Maria Costa would ever let anyone walk into her house dragging dirt behind them. But last Tuesday, she did that herself. If there's two things Simon Casey knows for sure, it's that one, he'll eventually be bitten by a dog, again, and two, that David Silver of 23 Carbon Street will, as always, be at his letterbox at exactly 2:30 to meet him. When you notice a change in someone's behaviour, no matter how small, trust your gut instinct. Ask, are you okay? And start a conversation that could change a life.
Okay, so that's going to become a bit more relevant a bit later in the presentation. This is just a bit of a statistic. I only heard this about a week ago and I haven't really stopped thinking about it because it's just dreadful. So in Australia, 8 people die a day from suicide. What I was getting at before with the sort of stigma, a little activity, is again the stigma around mental health, which we're all probably very aware of. Often people feel very scared to acknowledge that they're struggling because it is stigmatised to seem weak or made up or you're a pussy if you talk about it. And I completely understand this, but this stigma is what can prevent people from getting help and ultimately can lead to the loss of lives. I just want to give a quick example by sharing my experience. So probably about 2 years ago, I just started getting really sad every day. And like I'd come home from work and just be so flat, like I just couldn't deal with anything. And then that became going to work, I'd be flat. Before work, I'd be flat. And I started to withdraw from seeing friends and family and didn't want to do anything, like just so unmotivated. And the only safe place for me was bed. So I ended up just spending days in bed. And it was pretty dreadful for people around me and for myself. And people obviously started to notice when I didn't turn up to things just like that video. And I guess at the start I was in a bit of denial. Like when people were asking me about it, I'd say, oh, no, I'm fine. Like just tired or whatever. Come up with excuses every time. I'm sure you guys have all done that. When someone asks, are you okay? You say, yeah, I'm fine, even if you're not. So I guess there was one specific person who said, you know, like, are you okay? And I sort of just broke and I said, you know, no, I'm not. And there was another breaking point where one day I went to work and I got in there and I just started bawling my eyes out, like for no reason. I was just riddled with anxiety. And so I went out the back and I called my mum. I said, Mum, what the hell? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what do I do? And she said, you're going to have to tell them. Like, and I said, there's no way I'm telling them. That's so embarrassing. That's just going to ruin everything. But I can't even remember what happened next. But I must have told him and just gone home. And I guess that was sort of the first step where I'd finally told someone, and it was so heavy, but it just took a little bit of that weight off my chest knowing that someone knew. And eventually I went to the doctor, and that was freaking scary, like telling them what's going on. And then I went to psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, and every time it just got a little bit easier and it was more of a weight off my chest. And like the diagnosis, there was a smorgasbord of stuff on there and it was very overwhelming to hear, but if it had gone any further, it probably would have been a very different story. So if I hadn't told those people in the early days, I wouldn't have known that they were there for me on those days where, you know, I didn't really want to wake up or I didn't want to, you know, be alive anymore. I know that's really heavy to hear, but had I not told those people, I definitely wouldn't be here today. So now I see a therapist regularly and it's the best thing. I'm medicated and yeah. So I guess what I wanted you to get out of that was it's just really important to speak up and not be afraid. Like, make yourself vulnerable. It can be scary, but in the end it will save your life. So on that note, the Are You OK organisation has some really good resources that can help if you're not sure how to go about asking the question, because it can be really hard, and it can be really confronting. They give examples like, how are you travelling? How are things going? You don't seem yourself lately, and like that video before. But they also, someone told me the other day that when you're saying you don't seem yourself, it's good to give examples. So like, say if your mate, like when they were saying he didn't go to footy training, give him that example and he might say, oh, no, I'm fine. But he'll probably go home, think about that and say, oh, no, that's right, actually, like, I'm not really okay. So they highlight the importance of not only asking, but listening with an open mind. Checking in after the conversation, make sure the conversation is private and that you have enough time, that you yourself are comfortable, because it can be pretty heavy, and that the other person's comfortable, and that you're in a good headspace and ready to listen. All right. One more thing that I wanted to quickly talk about is exam stress. So you guys obviously have exams coming up, and that can be pretty overwhelming and pretty hectic. And I know that there can be a lot of pressure and people on your back or in your ear about it. I've done year 12, everyone's done it, and it's crazy. But this stress and pressure can seriously affect your mental health, and it's important during these times to have coping strategies that work for you. So does anyone have a coping strategy that they wanted to share? Like, for example, I'll walk my dog if I'm feeling stressed.
Go for a bike ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bike ride? Anyone else? Yep, Finn? Yep. Okay, this is a bit awkward. Right, so things like making sure you're getting outside every day, do something you enjoy, make time for friends or family and try and find that balance. Strategies that you develop now are ones that can be carried through life and prevent burnout and things like that. So this is a little, what are they called, table, and it's got all the happy chemicals and it gives you examples of what to do to boost them. So there's stuff like being creative, give a hug, listen to music, all that stuff. All right, so that's it. That went really fast actually, didn't it? Sorry. So pretty much the key points, we want to break the stigma. There's a massive stigma around talking about mental health. Ask, listen, check in. Every day is Are You OK Day. It's not just one day of a year. And speak up if you need to. It's up to all of us to remove the stigma and look out for each other. So thank you.
Thanks heaps, Elke. On behalf of Emmanuel, particularly the Year 12 group, can we just give Elke Aulsebrook another round of applause? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Elke. Thanks, Luce. It's really important what Elke's talked about today. And as you said, it's not just today that we ask, are people okay? But we check in on each other every day. I think, Elke, it's so brave of you to stand up here and share your story, and I know that wouldn't have been an easy thing to do, but it's been really great to hear that, and I'm sure that will, give plenty of important messages for our students and our students that are out there listening too. Is that right? Yes, in the classrooms. So for all our students from 10, 11 and 12, we want you to know that there are services here that we can help, so the wellbeing team. But also you've got, as Elke spoke about, friends and family that you can reach out to, okay? So it's really important. I think the main message was seeking help and making sure that you do seek help out there. So thank you. Thank you, Elke, again. Fantastic.